Welcome to the Media Bubble Podcast. It's the podcast that talks about all geeky media related topics. I'm Karol and he's Fredrik. Let's get the show on the road.
And Happy New Year! Good 2023 on you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well. And to our listeners. Happy New Year!
Yeah, and what do you do in the beginning of the year? You re-evaluate what happened in the previous year. And we're going to do what we did last year and kind of do a recap of the 2022. And we're going to mention what our favorite kind of media related stuff have been for this year. We're going to have discuss TV series, songs, films, video games, and anime and manga.
Exactly. And as was the case last year, I struggled a lot to pick everything on the list.
Yeah, me too. So some things that you kind of notice is that you're in 1 year you're kind of mostly re-evaluating things that happened the previous years more than you checking out new stuff.
Yeah, because it's as you said, that was exactly the case with me with almost every single one of the things that I actually watched.
Yeah, like films and video games, especially for me, and at some points anime also too. It was kind of hard because I feel like a lot of the big movies comes out at the end of the year, like November, December.
Yeah, I mean,
and some haven't even released in Sweden yet.
yeah, same with music. Like, there's songs I want to include on the list, which albums for haven't released yet. And
okay, that if they haven't released yet, then they are are they really 2022 then?
exactly, they are not.
Or have you mean that the song has released?
Well, I will explain it later on, but
because if the song had released this year, then you could have put it on the list if you wanted to.
that I did not do that.
Okay.
I've included actually like full albums that I enjoyed,
I said song.
but also picked out the best songs as well.
Well, I have broken some rules on this list too, I guess. Well, let's get started with our first category, and something that I did on my own when not telling Karol is that I kind of did a top 5 of everything. So I just thought that I would say some quick words about these about the 5, 4, 3, and 2, and then go to my number 1 pick, the words I'm going to talk mostly about.
Interesting.
Okay, my TV series, top 5. Our Flag Means Death. Kind of funny, quirky series that Karol first mentioned to me, and I watched a bit of it. It's kind of silly humor from Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Number 4, Hotel Portofino. I watched this in the beginning of the year, and I don't know, I kind of like slow, relaxing shows, and I kind of felt like this was kind of that. And then we have The Boys season 3, continuing after the 2 first season, and yeah, still good. We're going with The Boys. And then a show that I watched this year, both the first and second season I watched this year, but I'm guessing only the second season counts then. But only Murders in the Building. I watched this on Disney Plus, and yeah, it was a really fun, interesting mystery show where the 3 main characters also at the same time of solving the mystery are making a podcast about it.
Which I feel like would feel for you a little bit relatable now that we're doing this.
Maybe. And for my, if you go to the next slide, Karol.
Of course.
And for my number 1 pick of the year, the Gilded Age,
Oh my god.
which which uh, which weirdly enough you brought up in one episode, and I was kind of thinking of for myself, because that was my number one choice already back then, and I was kind of thinking, I should probably not talk a lot about this.
Yeah, this had me so surprised because you didn't talk to me about the Gilded Age. We only spoken it about in the episode we did, and that's it.
Yeah, I kind of knew that I was kind of sure that this was going to be the number one pick in when it came to the end of the year. But let's see. My mom kind of tipped me on the show in the beginning of the year, like this released kind of early, like January, February, or something like that.
That
And
so that's why I didn't pick it, because I felt that it released at the end of 2021.
no, it didn't. It released this year. Didn't you fact check?
No, I did not the Gilded Age.
Okay. Well, anyway, this show is. I didn't really watch Downton Abbey, to be honest, but I watched this show, and I don't know, it's just a good show. It's kind of in the early 1880s, you might say, and it's a bunch of different rich people and interesting character, and their kind of intrigues with each other.
Yeah, it's just the struggle between rich people, which feels really relaxing, since for us it's a couple of rich gals and guys from, as you said, like 1800s, just class struggle, but it's not it isn't like action packed or anything. It's just pettiness, squabbles, showing who's the boss, etc., etc.
Yeah, and some romance and some let's see, some what are they called, the people that are working for
Servants.
the rich yeah, servants. That also has some screen time, so
Yeah, there isn't as much focus on them as it's on the matrons of each house.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 9 episodes long. It's going to have a second season. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, it's my favorite. It was clear in my mind my favorite show of the year. I don't know. I kind of just enjoyed it. The style and
just the
characters
atmosphere.
and everything.
Yeah, it's just like this early New York rich people problems. It's like stress-free watching.
Yeah, and both Carol and I am not rich people, so
yeah, which just it's kind of fun to just look into their lives.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're seeing a new world in some way.
Yeah. So for me this year, I didn't prepare some of the categories. I have honorable mentions, but for this one, I only prepared one, which is What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay. Also Taika White. No, it's not him this time, but it is inspired by a film he made, right?
I think so, but the series follows a bunch of eccentric vampires living in America and Staten Island. And the vampires, since they're so ancient, are just a bunch of weirdos. We have Nadia, who is like a Roman. She is the oldest vampire, since she turned Laszlo, her lover, into a vampire as well. We have.
Does the show mention anytime how old she is?
Like we are coming to hundreds of years. And she is this mystical, quirky. She sings. She's. I don't know how to say it. She's kind of the straight man of the group. Then we have Laszlo, her husband, for a few hundred good years as well, and he is just a sex pest. If a woman.
What did you say? A sex pest?
Yeah. So this show is really horny.
He seems like a wonderful husband material.
Yeah, I mean they go at it a lot of times, and it's also fun because there's multiple plots where he like they're very casual about cheating, so it's not really cheating. They like get over it pretty quickly if you like live 500 years.
Oh, okay.
He's also a musician, and in later series, there's like an episode where he owns someone money, like let's say like $200. So instead
Mm.
of paying it, he challenges the guy for a duel. He escapes. He moves into Transylvania. He assumes a new identity. He owns a bar, and he helps the local volleyball club to go to state championship
Just for $200.
just for $200. And he changes.
Well, he's committed.
Yeah, he's committed. Then we have Nandor, who is this Persian Persian knight who had like 27 wives. He conquered a lot of villages. He burned down Nadia's village, which also is like a plot of one episode. And he's very polite. He is this like a great warrior, but he's like, and yeah, and like I'm gonna check the email. Oh, I got like 2 emails, and just he's very polite and kind.
Mm.
And he
Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I did.
Okay, is it kind of the same editing style and humor?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's a mockumentary, and everyone is weird. Like when they're I'm spoiling some of the earlier seasons, but at one point they get accused for murdering a vampire, and they go to a vampire council, and they do like Zoom call to the council because someone couldn't attend, and there's like Zoom problems, or like and like they're checking the connection, or there's like a bunch of witches who want to get their juices quotation marks, and it's
Well, what did you say? Some witches that want juices.
exactly, and juices in quotation marks. It's just weird, delightful, and horny, and I cannot stop watching it.
It definitely sounds interesting and definitely sounds like Taika Waititi.
Yeah, so if you've seen the original movie, this series will be right up your alley. And they just released season 5 this year.
Okay.
Or 4. 5. It was 5.
Yeah, so something like that. 5 seasons. Okay, I guess to the next category, which is anime this time. Which was kind of a hard category, and like the shows that I'm going to talk about is like the only shows that I watched this year. Let's see, if we're going with let's see, number 5, I couldn't really decide. We have Kaguya-sama Love is War Ultra Romantic Season 3.
I've seen clips of it online, and it seems really fun.
It's kind of more romantic this year, you can say.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay, so then we have To Your Eternity Season 2, which I watched the first season actually earlier this year, and I realized that if I had seen that show the previous year, then it would have been my number 1 for 2021. But now season 2 has released, and it's number 5. It's still good and fun, but not as good.
It dropped
Let's
in
see,
quality.
we have a little bit, but it's still kind of fun and deep. Let's see. Number 4, Bleach 1000-Year Blood War. I don't know, I kind of just enjoyed seeing Bleach again. It's been a couple of years, and it's adapting one of the better arcs.
So is this a movie or is this a series?
No, it's a series. They have in the original Bleach series they didn't adapt everything from the manga. They skipped out on kind of the ending arc, and this series is kind of after years adapting that final arc.
That seems incredibly weird to skip the final arcs.
Well, Bleach had become less popular then, and then when it's ending, I guess in some weird way it grows in nostalgia popularity.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then number 3 we have the case study of Vanitas Part 2, which is which season 1 was my number 1 from last year's list. And that's it's a kind of detective vampire mystery show. And yeah, season 2 works still fine. Let's see, number 2, Summertime Rendering. Kind of a mystery team where a guy returns from a kind of small fishing town from his past, and there's something a mystery that something happens, and so he dies a couple of times in the show, and he returns at a point kind of, how many hours was it before he woke up? Maybe 24 hours from the time point he died. And let's see, number 1, which is kind of a surprising show because I don't think really many people know about this one at all. It's called The Demon Recipe for Happiness in its English title. And
what is it about? It looks interesting.
Well, I kind of just stumbled upon this one day, and I like a lot of shows that are kind of relaxing and slow moving in some way, takes it time to breathe in some way, and this show I kind of feel is that. It's kind of about a man who dreamed of being kind of a musician, who returns home to his father and mother's let's call it bakery shop, and while there he's find a young girl who starts to have suddenly live in his old house, and he kind of becomes a father figure for this young girl because her father abandoned her on that very shop.
So he just left the kid at the shop.
Yep.
That's a horrible father behavior right there.
So he kind of in some way steps in as that kind of father role, but in the beginning when these two characters meet, she isn't very impressed by him because, as I said before, he's kind of a failed musician who didn't really want to inherit the store, but he has come back and kind of wants to do that now in some way. And she is kind of better at him at cooking and some other stuff, you can say.
I feel that this story is very sweet. And as you said, it's relaxing.
Yeah, which kind of is my cup of tea, weirdly enough. Like, if we're also going to mention some other famous anime that came out this year, Chainsaw Man and Spy Wars released this year, and I haven't really gotten around to watch them because I kind of have read the manga already, so I didn't really feel like I needed to prioritize those shows.
I feel this was the exact reason why I didn't see Chainsaw Man, because I've also read the manga. I finished with the first arc. I didn't feel the need to do it.
Speaking of mangas, that's your pick, right?
Yes. So, in recent years, I have discovered that I am notoriously bad at watching anime. And when it comes to anime, what I want to watch is seldom relevant. So this year, I picked a manga that I really enjoyed. And that manga is The Shadow Castle. Let me double check the name.
The Shadow Castle?
No. It's called The Shadow's House. So this is a story about a human doll called Emilico. She lives in the titular Shadow's house, and she is a servant to a shadow named Kate. They look identical, and with the only difference being that Kate is suit black. They have the same features, same length hair, same height. They're vastly different individuals, but
But you said she was her shadow, right?
Exactly. That's what the creatures in the house are called. She's a shadow.
Okay. So they call that they are not an actual shadow.
Exactly. It is it is revealed more later about what it actually is. But Emilico is Kate's servant, and to Emilico's duties, there's like cleaning, bathing her mistress, serving food, the regular stuff. Before Kate becomes an adult or a member of the family, she is not allowed to leave her room. Um, and it is also touched upon that not all kids in the house are acquired to the family. Like they are not like actual like formally members of the family. Uh, Upon that, Kate is not the only person locked in her room. So this is like a rite of passage. So what happens to kids and their shadows that do not pass the inspection? What is the inspection? Why does every single shadow have a child servant? And why are they so obedient? Um it's really interesting because it turns out, I am so sorry, I'm gonna keep it as spoiler free as possible, but Kate is not exactly human, and Emilico is key to Kate non humanity, let's say. Um,
What, she doesn't want her to know that she is not human, or?
no. It's how to explain without spoiling it. So Kate knows that she is not human. She like as all shadows, she uses powers of soot. So it's the thing that that gathers once you burn up stuff.
Okay.
And every single shadow has some kind of power. Some can influence people. Some can uh, create creatures. Some can use it in destructive ways. Um,
I like how I am kind of trying to say something simple and just take the uh, main things from the show, while you are on the other side kind of telling me the whole plot.
it's not exactly. It's funny because I'm telling you the premise. Um, Anyway, the story follows Kate and Emilico and her friends trying to understand the Shadow's house, try to escape the Shadow's house, and see what is the deal and why the adults of the house don't have any servants with them.
Okay, to my first question. Is there a castle?
Yes, they all live in a huge castle.
Okay, to my next question. How long have you read this, and how many chapters are out?
So currently, I know that because so originally this series started being published in 2018, but only recently this year they have released English chapters. So two omnibuses are released, and I think it's up to chapter like 30 out of like 120 uh, in English.
Okay. Well, it sounds somewhat interesting, Carol.
If you want, there is also an anime with two seasons, and it also I think released this year. So if you want to watch it instead of read it, that there's also an option for that.
Okay. A little bit questionable about this year, but I guess it kind of counts as you couldn't read it before, I guess.
I didn't know it existed. Like thanks to the English translations, I got around to reading it.
Okay, to the next category, which is a new category for us this year, and that is songs. And both Carol and me might admit that we're not really we don't really know a lot about music. We kind of just like listening to different stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you play any instrument, right?
I did play guitar for a little while, but not that much.
Yeah.
I kind of forgotten most of it.
Yeah. For me, it was the piano, but I didn't continue that.
So these songs, if you want to know what I kind of am looking for mostly in songs, it's kind of mostly how they sound more than, I guess, lyrics. Which is kind of weird because number 5, I couldn't decide between these two songs, but when MB hold, Numb Little Bugs, which is which I kind of like because some of the lyrics there in that song really weirdly hit me home a kind of bunch of times. So it was somewhat relatable in that way. And then we have Witch by Devon Cole, kind of a new female artist, I guess. And I don't know why, but I just kept listening to that song, so it kind of grew on me after each listening, I guess. Number 4, Glimpse of Us. A deep, meaningful song, you can say, with a strong voice, you can say. And then one time I heard in the radio this the song on number 3. There is this program called So Mycket Bättre in Sweden, which is kind of just a bunch of famous musicians covering each other's songs. And this one is a song by Jon Ossi. Had a bit trouble pronouncing that name there. Anxious Angel, and that song is incredible. The voice on that man with the mix of how he made that song tonally, I guess, how he goes high in some places and things like that. It's kind of it's really a good song. And then number 2 we have Glass Animals Heat Waves, which I kind of mentioned this in last week's episode, but I just feel like it flows kind of nicely.
Yeah, I mean, even if I preferred Harry Styles, it's still a good song.
And then number 1, let's see, Serener in Swedish. This is a Swedish-speaking song because I am Swedish, so I listen to some Swedish music. And this, I don't know, this song is kind of just slow, nice, relaxing.
Who's the artist?
She's new. I kind of just forgot her name right now, but this is kind of her first song. She's also really young, I read. She's still a teenager. And she has gotten a hit with this song, and yeah, it's kind of just nice, slow moving. She has a good voice, a little bit of a tempo, I guess, but yeah, it's just a nice song to listen to. As I said, I'm not the biggest in music, so I can't really describe songs incredibly well, but yeah, this is the songs that I guess was my favorite from the year.
I think once this episode is over, I'll give them all a listen.
Okay.
Just because I'm interested. What your music taste is like.
Well, I guess so. Sometimes I surprise myself with my music taste.
That's good. So
you, Karol.
So for me this year, I also kind of did a little bit differently. So most of the songs that I listened to on repeat, non-stop, did not come out this year. A notable mention being Anna and the Apocalypse soundtrack. So
did you keep listening to that?
Yes, I did. Since, like, hello, it's a Christmas musical, and we're recording this around Christmas. All of the song just got stuck in my head.
Okay, he remembers everything.
Yeah, like, it was fun. Like, a lot of the songs on a re-listen, like, I began to appreciate. Most notably the I'm a Soldier at War, the song that the guy sang. But otherwise, I think my favorite song that released this year was what was that? Talking to Yourself by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Okay. Haven't actually heard that one, if I'm being honest.
So Talking to Yourself released a little bit ahead because it's part of the latest album, The Loneliest Time. I just got The Loneliest Time on Christmas, and I'm listening to it like a lot. A lot of good songs. And I liked The Loneliest Time because it reminded me a lot of like the album that Collie released before, which was Emotion. Um it has a catchy rhythm. It's a little bit deep because it talks about uh, supposedly someone who can't let go of their loved one even if he's making love to somebody else. Uh, Good lyrics, good tempo. I recommend the whole album, The Loneliest Time. Um, my second pick would have been Midnights by Taylor Swift. Uh, because it has really good three very good songs. Uh, Antihero, which is blasting nonstop on the radio. This is like the album seller. This song. Snow on the Beach, which is just this calm note, speaking about just it really feels like you being on a night on a beach, and Lavender Haze. Um, but the rest of the songs, like she had an idea for the album, which is like the slow building up of each song, so that at the end it's like finite. But sometimes it doesn't work. It's just her singing, and her vocals are beautiful, but there is no rhythm. There is just like incremental instrumentals, like just small bits of music, and I just want to dance.
Are you criticizing Taylor Swift?
Yes, I am. I am a Swiftie to the death, but I have to say, I like half of the songs on Midnights, not all of them.
Oh, look at that.
Look at me being
Well,
controversial.
yeah, look at Karol hurting himself with his words. Well, to the next category then, I guess, which is video game.
Yeah.
Which, just to be clear in one point, each games that you're seeing here on the screens, I have just been managed to finish one of them.
Yeah, I wanted to say because there's some interesting picks which you haven't spoken to me about in any way.
Well, most of these games I kind of got recently as well. It's kind of just been like the two most recent months. Kirby and the Forgotten Land I had, which is number 5, I got an earlier that year, and it's it's the only one I actually finished of the games yet. But yeah, Kirby is a weird series. I already didn't have it as number 5. I had Mario Strikers. Uh, Mario Strikers is still a fun game, but if I compare it to the other two games, then it feels a little bit of a lacking. So, but the Kirby and the Forgotten Land I have finished. I had a fun time playing it. But Kirby games never really stick out in my head as when I think about, oh, what was a good game from that time frame. I almost never think of Kirby, even though I kind of always finish his games. Let's see, we have Sonic Frontiers, which we talked a little bit on our E3 episode that we weren't really sure how to feel about that game yet. I liked they were going in a way of open world with how Sonic Speed works, but they kind of just showed some him running on some grass all the time at that point.
Have you had a chance to play Sonic Frontiers?
Yeah, it's I have played these games, Karol. That's why they are on the list. And I have been able to play some of Sonic Frontiers, and it's really fun. It has more to it than just running on some grassy hills, and yeah, it's fun, and you can, as I said, with how Sonic's whole gimmick is speed, an open world kind of fits that in some way. Let's see, number 3, Pokemon Scarlet was the version that I got, and I gotta admit I haven't enjoyed playing a Pokemon game since Pokemon Black and White 2. I don't like Black and White 1, but I like Black and White 2. Uh, and I haven't enjoyed really Pokemon games that much since these games, because these kind of feels it feels new and unique in some fun way, and all the Pokemons that are running in the wild, you can see you can always see them, and
It feels unique.
yeah, it feels like the next step for Pokemon, which you kind of wanted, and that's kind of also why Pokemon Sword and Shield felt so disappointing, because it didn't feel like that took that next step, and this felt, on the other hand, like it did. Now there are some graphics things that happen sometimes in the game which aren't fully functional, but on the big picture, this is really fun Pokemon game actually.
Yeah, I have yet to give it a chance. I'm forcing myself to finish Shield.
Hmm. Let's see. And have you still have not finished Shield yet?
No, no.
Okay. Next we have Elden Ring, and that game has been talked a lot about this year. So let's just say that it's a really good game.
I never imagined you playing Elden Ring of all games.
Well, I sometimes try playing games that aren't typically what I usually played, and sometimes that gives a good result. Sometimes it gives a bad result, and that time it seemed like the game was just so well made that it left a good result.
How long have you come in the game?
Do you have the game?
I played almost all of the Souls games, but I haven't played Elden Ring.
Well, let's say how if I am going to speak about hours, then I might be 9 or 10, something like that. Like I said, I got most of these games like 2 months ago, and I have had other stuff to do in my life. So
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
okay, and number one, that's the.
Is
Wait a second.
Srener again.
Wait a second. Here it comes, Bayonetta 3, which, if I'm being honest, I got this pretty recently, and I haven't played it as much as I would have liked, but it's a hack and slash game. It's Bayonetta, it's the sequel, it's really good, it's still fun, and it has a weird story. Yeah,
Apparently,
it's Bayonetta 3.
apparently they also released or announced a prequel game, Bayonetta and the Tale of Something Something.
Okay. I haven't heard about that yet in that case.
Yeah, look it up. It's based on one of the secret levels from this game.
Oh, okay. What's your pick then, Karol?
Well, I actually managed to play a few games that are relevant to our episode. So if you remember from our E3 episode, I've talked about playing Neon White, and I did it. I got it. I got it directly after we spoken about it.
Did you play Neon White? Like, I didn't see that on our Twitter at all.
I did. I did. I even liked some stuff, some clips, and I did tweet about it, I think.
Yeah, you did.
So it is an honorable mention, but it is a speedrunny FPS with movement mechanics, and your goal is to cleanse heaven from sins and these shadow creatures. And there's a competition where if you are on the first place by cleaning these sins, you are allowed to stay in heaven while all the other participants end up back in hell. But it's not my favorite game. My favorite game, in fact, is Grounded, which is a survival story-driven game. basically, have you seen the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
No, but I know the premise of it.
So the premise of the game is similar. Somehow, one day, you and your three other friends end up being microsized and are being parachuted into a garden. And your job,
Oh, this is what I called Ant-Man the game.
yeah, that's precisely it. And your job is to get back to your original size, reclaim your memories, slay some spiders, ants, beetles, uh, like craft some weapons, make a base. I've got this game 3 days ago, and during the 2 days where I had time to play it, I already have 12 hours on it. I
Oh,
I am in love. This it's and it's so fun because there's so many quality of life features, which makes it so easy to play with other friends. Uh,
oh, okay.
like you can play up to 4 people, and you can like as we were beating this infected ladybug, because there's not only like regular bugs, there's also like noxious gas in the garden. There's like a sandbox filled with ant lions. There's bees on the picnic tables that attack you, mosquitoes by the lakes.
Okay.
There's a big fish in the pond that will eat you up if you get too close to it. There's black widows stalking in the trees. It's so fun, and I recommend it dearly.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned it before with just how excited you seem to be.
As I said, I got it 3 days ago, and I'm not able
you
to
got
put it
it.
down.
Wait, you got it 3 days ago and you are 12 hours in?
Yeah.
Carol, you know how to play games, I guess.
Yeah, I've played all of the Christmas like second day and the day after, and the only reason why I didn't play yesterday was because we played Pathfinder.
Okay, to our last category then,
Yep.
which is films that released this year. And I haven't been able to watch all the films that I have wanted to watch this year. And if I'm being honest, some of these choice, I'm not really sure if when I have watched all the films that I want to watch this year, I'm not sure if some of these will be in the top 10. But for right now, for right this second when the year has ended, these are the top 5. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which I find that a lot of movies that I actually watched this year, they kind of had something in it that left me kind of disappointed, or felt like it, or felt for me like that quite didn't really work. So while there are some other high profile movies that I watched this year that had that kind of thing in it, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is it kind of feels like a bit of a smaller movie, but at the same time, it didn't really give me that feeling at any time, because I feel like the movie knows what it is and sticks to it. And yeah, it's a fun movie about today's animation, you can kind of say.
And how Chip and Dale are fighting for copyright.
Let's see. And then we have The Quiet Girl, which kind of snuck onto me the last couple of days. This is an Irish-speaking film, and kind of just a couple of days ago, I looked up on Rotten Tomatoes what were the most well-reviewed films of the year, and this was quite high up on that list. And what I discovered about this film, it's kind of a quiet, slow-moving movie in some way. And I guess why I got interested about this movie is a quiet girl, and as a young boy, I was kind of a quiet boy. But the main character is a part of a big family with a lot of different siblings, and her mother has just recently gotten a new child. So she is kind of sent away to strangers that lives on a farm, and it's kind of just how she connects with these people, I guess. And then we have number 3, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
I have yet to see it. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, it looks wonderful, and it is wonderful as well. There are some things that I didn't really like that came close to the third act, I guess. But in the whole picture, it's really a good and different tale of Pinocchio. Like I wouldn't say that it beats the 1940 versions from me that was made by Disney, but it definitely beats the Disney's 2022 version. But anyway, it's Pinocchio's Guillermo del I can't speak right now. Guillermo del Toro. And it's kind of his style in claymation and animation for that world on the matter, and yeah, visually it's really incredible, except for some, I guess, water parts at the end of the film. But at the whole point, it's a really entertaining and unique and deep movie in some way. And then we have The Menu.
Yeah, you recommended this one to me.
Yeah, actually, Karol and me are going to speak a little bit more about The Menu and Pinocchio, for that matter. I shouldn't have talked so much about Pinocchio when I think about it.
No, I think it was appropriate, actually.
Well, anyway, we're going to talk more about those two films on a future episode, so I'm just going to leave that right now there and go to my number 1 choice, which is a movie called All Quiet on the Western Front, which is based on a German novel from like the 90s, 20s or something like that. It was also made into a movie in the 1930s, which is also kind of famous. But anyway, this is a new telling of the film, and it follows a young German soldier who's kind of 17, and he's kind of naive and going into the war and what kind of those young eyes sees, and how he changes in the war, you can kind of say how those eyes kind of change from being naive and full of hope to seeing the horrors that the war really was. Karol?
I'm feeling a little bit bad about my choice, because all the movies you picked seem very diverse and interesting.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of a movie guy. Like that is my biggest thing on all these 5 categories. So that was the one that I wanted the most to focus on. Like your problem.
Can you guess my number 1?
Is it animated?
No.
Okay. What has released? Is there something that has been in one of our episodes?
Yes.
Is it on the Halloween episode?
Yes.
Is it what? I have actually forgotten the title. What is it? Those 3 witches.
It's Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, it's Hocus Pocus 2.
I know it doesn't seem as serious as your picks, and it's not even the best movie that's probably been released this year. But I picked it for a little bit different reason. Just as I spoke about listening to Christmas music when it came to Annie and the Apocalypse, I picked Hocus Pocus 2 because I don't happen to watch holiday movies around the respective time, and it made me feel very warm and cozy when I saw a Halloween movie, specifically the one I've been waiting for, around Halloween.
Yeah, we watched it together also in some weird way.
Yeah, and I feel that even us being able to speak about it made me appreciate it a bit more. And just like the whole time when I was watching it, talking about with you, like listening to music afterwards, it also made me watch the original. and it was like recent, which doesn't happen to me that often. So I was happy for it just existing.
Well, when I hear your explanation and things about it, Carol, it seems like to be in a pretty good reason why that would be your top pick of the year.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything about like how it was shot or the story.
Mm.
As I said, not the best, but I, that's my reasoning.
I really thought that your top pick of this year would be Doctor Strange 2, then, Doc.
No, Multiverse of Madness was bad.
Uh,
How dare you?
if you want to, you can see an episode where we talk about that movie and Chip and Dale.
I think I think it summarized perfectly how we feel about Multiverse of Madness, since it was like packaged along with Chip and Dale, because we just wanted to speak about something fun as well.
Yeah. Something that I have noticed about this channel this year is that sometimes the topics that we talk about makes us in some way watch kind of some things that are kind of recent.
I think, I mean, for me, that was a little bit of the idea for going along for this podcast, because, as I said, I don't get recent stuff. I always go like I'm kind of a hipster in that kind of way, since I get into a movie like 3 years after its release.
Yeah. We're kind of done this podcast now for a little while. Like we are over 50 episodes right now.
Yeah. Would you think that we would come so far? 50 episodes?
Yeah, actually, I actually would. Because my idea was that we were probably going to do this for a little while. Like I wasn't thinking about giving up or something like that.
That's really cool to hear, actually.
Have you had those thoughts?
Yes, but I have these thoughts about everything, every single aspect of my life.
Okay, well, happy 2023, and we might have to do some changes about this format for the next year, but anyway, have a good.
Have a good.
Can you do the outro? Can you do the outro, Carol? I can't speak anymore.
Of course. So I also wanted to add, thank you for listening, and I hope, or we hope, that you enjoyed it as much as we have. Don't forget to follow, hit that bell icon, or follow us on socials like Twitter, YouTube, or Tumblr. See you again in the next episode and the next year, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye!